Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter and this is James.
Hello!
And today we're talking about volume 17 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Spontaneous opening thought from me is that this is probably one of my favorite volumes in the series so far.
Yeah, it is. Oh man, it is very, very jam packed with so much, and
Right.
it's exciting. It reveals a lot. A lot happens that changes everything you really think about. I mean, we said that just but with the Shibuya arc, but in one volume, it went and did that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's to the point where I have to rethink some of my favorite characters. You know what I mean?
Fascinating. I look forward to hearing some of that maybe later in the discussion.
hmm
But yeah. Fascinating stuff. I can't wait to talk about all of this. So, without further ado, let's start this episode by talking about Maki Zen'in. She's alive and well, thanks to her inborn physical toughness.
Yeah. I mean, I was really, really ecstatic to see that. I mean, it's no wonder that she has all the scars on her body like that. You know, you can't get away from being burned by Jogo
No,
without some sort of, issues there. But she
course.
seems to be healthy, in
Yeah,
a lot of ways.
all things considered, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, badly scarred and ready to commit genocide, and that's a mood, right?
That is
That's a mood.
such a mood. But yeah, right. A bit earlier, before that part, though, in this volume, she was talking, this whole deal about the culling game is established in this
hmm
book about something that's coming up pretty soon, supposedly, and it's looking like Maki may be able to get around the punishment of curse technique removal in
Oh,
that,
that's a good point.
which is pretty interesting, and I wonder how useful that will be. Like, or I mean, hopefully it will be. Apparently, Panda might also be able to kind of cheese that. So I guess
hmm
the two of them have special little things there.
So what does that mean for the culling game, though? Exactly. Does it mean they don't have to participate? Does it mean that they have an advantage in terms of points, I guess?
Well, based on my understanding, it's that they can break some rules with no punishment for doing that.
Okay. It's like if they say they want to quit, then they're not gonna
Or
die, right?
whichever the actions were that had that as the punishment. I can't remember exactly. There were like two different ones. Maybe quitting was one of them, or whatever it was. Either
Mm-hmm.
way, yeah, they can get around some stuff, which will surely be useful, I imagine.
Oh, I think the other one is if you're not killing anybody, then
Oh, right, in
yeah, you
19
can.
days, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, that was definitely one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Although I don't know
mm,
if Maki has an issue with that.
at this point, yeah. I mean, well, yeah. If her opponent's last name is Zenin, then yeah, she won't hesitate. Probably.
I, I was thinking at the end, it's like, why didn't she save this for the culling games? Anyway, sorry,
Right.
getting ahead of myself.
No, all good, all good. um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, her major part in this volume was that latter half of the book,
Yep.
where it seemed like the first half of the volume went by really slowly. At least it took me ages. It felt like to get through the first couple of chapters as I was taking my notes today.
Uh-huh.
But then once I got to Maki's segment, everything just happened so quickly, and I just breezed through those
Yeah.
chapters.
It
Uh,
is a tirade of gory action just
very.
throughout the couple of chapters. I mean, it is. I'm in awe of what he did. I mean, so much so. I think there was a point where he it feels like he couldn't keep up with what he was doing because for the most part it seems like it was pretty clean, the art, and then there was like a couple pages, at least in my version, that felt like rough draft versions, rough sketches.
Oh, I don't think I paid attention or like noticed anything like that necessarily.
Yeah,
But
yeah, let me screenshot that, and I want to know if it's the same in yours because
all
it
right, yeah,
honestly it seems a little unprofessional. I mean,
interesting.
not that they can't do what they want, but also this manga has been so well. It's been pretty consistent in its quality.
Hmm.
To all of a sudden kind of just drop a couple pages. It's like, what?
Gotcha.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
maybe they
Okay.
were pressed for time.
Let's check that out then. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I believe it's just this one. Well, it's 2 pages, but they're on the same
Spread kind of
side spread. Yeah, that's the word.
Gotcha. It would be interesting if it was like redone, maybe in the physical book.
Right, in the physical, but that's kind of a thought I had, so
Gotcha.
I'm curious if it is that way.
Oh, wow, that does look like rough drafts, kind of. Like I don't recognize that. Let me flip to that exact spread in the.
Yeah, it's when she's fighting the hay, I believe.
Right. Oh yeah. This does not look that, I guess, bad in the physical book at all.
That rough.
No, not at all. Like it looks actually very, very solid in the physical book.
Yeah, so there must have been a deadline that they had to meet.
Wow, yeah.
Or something like that.
Man.
Okay.
That's very interesting. This is probably the first time, or at least that we've noticed it, that something like this happens.
Right, where they go and improve it in the physical volume.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, so yeah, that fight, pretty epic. Just really a page turner. Just so much killing happens.
Yeah.
And about the genocide, they did terrible stuff to her, Mai, and her mother, and probably all women
Yes.
within the Zen'in family, I'm sure. And they're all, especially in this volume, you see, they're all terrible people. Even her own father, who we find out Ogi is her father. I don't think we knew that before.
Right, I don't think we knew that either until this volume, yeah.
But even that man was willing to kill his own daughters, and not really as a sacrifice. I mean, yes, that was part of it, but it was more so that I just want to kill them because they're not worthy to be my children.
Right, and they're like holding him back and stuff like all that shit he was going on about. Man, yeah, what and really, like, sure, his dad was worse than her mom, but her mom was not good at all either. Like, both her parents were really quite terrible.
Can I say something about the mom?
Of course.
Right there. I had the same feeling when I first read it, but I got to thinking about it, and I think my opinions on her kind of changed a little bit. And then when I read it the second time, I feel like it kind of solidified it. So what she said to Maki about wishing that she never give birth to them, that was terrible, obviously.
Yeah.
But then there's a moment where Maki confronts her mother and says, "Why did you ask us to come back?" or things like that.
Right.
Almost as if she feels like her mother's true feelings are different, maybe. And you don't see Maki killing her mother. I'd almost say her mother grabbed a knife and slit her own throat.
Interesting.
That's kind of the feeling I have, because maybe the guilt or whatever. And so you get to the scene where she kills Naoya.
Right.
And then she has the memory of her 2 daughters, or at least maybe the dream she had, or that she wished was true.
Right.
That she was glad she gave birth to them. And that confused me at first, but I think it's because she was so brainwashed by the Zen'in mentality that told her she was a failure, her children were a failure because they didn't live up to certain expectations. And that's what kind of forged her mindset to think like that. But in reality, she wanted to love her children, wanted to be happy that she gave birth to them. And Naoya represents this incredibly misogynistic side of the Zen'in family. I think her killing the Naoya is almost kind of poetic, symbolic in a way. So that's how I kind of justify her in a way.
Okay. I can kind of get down with that a bit. Like,
yeah,
it's not like I wouldn't like call her redeemed.
No. Yeah.
And I wouldn't like call her a good mother.
No, absolutely not. No.
Still, though, like, interpreting her in this way definitely gives her more depth, and I definitely enjoy that. Absolutely. Even though I don't know what is the intended way to read this, but I like this though a lot.
Who's to say?
Right.
Maybe I feel like the anime has made some things a little bit clearer, at least in the Shibuya arc so far for me. So maybe whenever this is animated, that'll become clear as well.
Who knows?
But I do think it's to me, it's clear that she is a better person, or at least a more redeemable person than her supposed husband Ogi.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was just the
That guy was
worst.
trash.
Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so I started thinking, or like having seen Maki's parents now, kind of what they were like as parents, to some extent anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of realized like no wonder Mai was a bit of a nuisance at times. Having grown up with parents like that. I don't think she was nearly as bad as either of them, but the fact that she was
Oh,
still
interesting.
several times not very nice at all, really, on multiple occasions. Getting it from people like that makes a lot of sense. You know,
Fair enough.
but oh my goodness, Maki and Mai's moments that they had.
Yeah, man.
That was absolutely heartbreaking.
This is the moment that I wanted for Maki and Mai, but then it wasn't. Like I wanted there to be this sisterly love. I guess it became self-love in a way.
In a way, I suppose.
I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about that in a sec, but
Uh-huh.
this is what I wanted. I wanted them to have the reconciliation, where they see eye to eye and really show that they love each other.
Yeah.
But it's given to me and then quickly taken away.
Right.
In the sense that she's gone. Mai's gone.
Yeah, and we learn about just how. I mean, we knew that, or we had learned to some extent, or understood to some extent that twins in the Jujutsu world are like a bad omen and like it's bad in some ways, but we never really understood why or how or like how come.
Mm-hmm.
But to understand that, well, it's just this really unfortunate circumstance with twins that I guess one can't improve while the other one doesn't also fight for that in a way because they are one.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, she basically says, we are the same, or we are the same. No, not that again. No, she's saying that we are the same person, almost.
Right, in the eyes of Jujutsu and or whatever, like, kind of, sort of.
But she doesn't say it in the eyes of Jujutsu, really. Right?
Well, maybe not exactly that way, but.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Cursed techniques treat identical twins as one individual.
Okay, so.
Is what it says.
Okay. So it's the curse technique that does that. So they're not really one person. It's
right.
It's more so that within the curse technique. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was still like, even though it was very, very sad, and not quite what we had dreamed of seeing, perhaps, but it was such a good scene, I thought.
Yeah, no, it was a great scene. Another kind of poetic moment.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Man, Mai giving her life so that Maki could live and grow stronger, like, my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely did not see that coming at all.
Nah. But Maki definitely went all out for Mai after that.
What was the thing that Mai gave Maki? Put her hand. I can't. Do you remember, or do you know what that's supposed to be?
Well, it became the sword. Like, she made the sword.
Oh, it became the sword. Oh, okay.
Or like I believe in the vision that they were sharing, she handed her like a piece of grain or like a wheat.
I mean, it kind of looks like wheat, yeah.
But I believe that was only in the vision or in the whatever, like the metaphorical realm where they were talking or whatever.
Oh, because she didn't have the sword before. Okay.
Yeah, that's what she created. Like for her last, in her dying breath, basically, she created that sword for Maki.
Gotcha.
And you can see, like, a few pages later, I believe it's right after she killed her dad, it looks like she's kind of talking to Mai, but she's looking at the sword, so it's like almost, or at least it looks like that to me a bit.
I mean, she's just looking down, but fair.
I don't know. You could see that or view that as her looking at the sword, and I think I kind of like that interpretation because it means that she kind of, since this is the last thing of Mai, basically, like, it was something that she created with her curse technique in her dying moment, and it's all that Maki has left of her now, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously she doesn't think that it is Mai, but still, kind of talking to Mai through the sword in a way, just for herself, I think is kind of nice. But I also really liked how basically right after Mai's death, Maki took out all of those cursed spirits in that room, and she wasn't wearing the glasses then. So this definitely points toward her having attained maybe not exactly that level, but at least nearly the same level that Toji was at, with how his senses was just so heightened that he could sense
Mm-hmm.
spirits even though he couldn't technically see them, maybe, or whatever, however, uh, and so Maki is there now too, so that's pretty rad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No idea where she sits on the Toji scale. I wouldn't put her too far behind because
Nah.
to kill all the Zen'in family is nothing to shake a stick at,
No.
or whatever the term is. But I'm sure she's incredibly powerful and not too far behind from Toji, if not at the same level.
Right. Yeah, right. And like I also love that the page where her dad sees her, but he also sees like Toji in her basically, and like we see a panel with her and a panel of Toji like right next to each other, and like it's just the exact same like vibes, and it's so creepy.
Pose, yeah.
That is so good. So yeah, right. If she's not exactly there, she's like very close. Yeah. And yeah, like really eradicating basically or more or less the entire Zenin clan. Like that is crazy. And as even the kind of epilogue text of the volume says, she went on to kill even more, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to do everybody in the Zenin living area, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then go out and find the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, she's very serious about this.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It definitely, yeah, went from I'm getting the curse tools
Right.
to escaping to I'm just gonna kill them all.
My goodness, yeah. Yeah, it escalated a bit.
Yeah. I mean, nothing like watching one of your favorite characters commit genocide.
Oh well, we've never been there before.
No, never, ever. Yeah, this is so new for me.
Man, we can't even talk about what we're talking about right now because it's spoilers.
No.
But anyway,
Absolutely.
let's move on. No, yeah, it's rough. It's really rough to see this, and I mean, I imagine for you especially, since I know obviously she was way up there for you.
Yeah.
And how has this affected her standing for you?
Well, it is such a cool moment when you take away the killing part of it all. And honestly, she is getting her revenge and almost just desserts for so many people. But I can't, with a good conscience, at least for me, say that I approve of any of it or think that it was completely warranted.
Fair.
And so I guess like I don't know. I guess my liking of her is a little bit down, but it's hard to say that I'm infatuated with her as much as I was before. You know what I mean? It's this new ruthlessness that maybe. I mean, she's always kind of been ruthless, but go a little bit far. And maybe so I blame Akutami more. I mean, it's his story, and he makes the decisions, really.
He does.
And yeah, so I mean, anytime that we try to glorify something like genocide, I can't really fully approve of it.
Right.
And it doesn't really feel like the story does anything to say, yeah, this is not right, or this was,
right,
a despicable thing.
Not yet, at least. I mean, who knows?
At least not yet.
Maybe it will, or like maybe there will be like consequences of this that can kind of, I guess, send a message to the reader that her actions were not amazing, perhaps.
I mean, to be fair, like it should be obvious that killing people bad.
Well, right.
Genocide bad, right? It should be obvious. But
yes,
at the same
right.
time, it would be nice to have some sort of, even a little bit of guilt from Maki for what she did. But knowing Maki, and probably her rage over Mai's death, I I really don't know if I can see her showing that regret. But
I wonder, like, from the other, like, good guys, main characters, like the ones that were shown on Maki's side earlier in this volume, I wonder how they are going to react to learning about Maki having done this.
I think if anything, if anybody would be Yuji, I would expect. I think Yuta would probably try to be understanding, and Megumi would be. He doesn't care.
No.
He's Squidward.
Right, but you're right. Yuji may have a stronger reaction to that.
Yes,
I think he should. I hope he does.
I do too. I think that would make me feel a little bit better if someone had a strong reaction.
Absolutely.
And less so about Maki's character, but as the story, as that being a story beat.
For sure. I agree totally. But do you have anything else on Maki for now?
I thought it was funny to get Juzo Kumiya back into the story very, very briefly.
Yes. That was very nice, actually.
And that's everything. I mean, I had a good portion of my notes was about the whole Maki stuff.
Yes. Oh, same, for sure. And I actually have one last thing that I wanted to end the Maki discussion with. It's not necessarily about her specifically, but last time we were talking a little bit about the Zen'in family tree and wondering kind of how everything was connected and whatnot. Lo and behold, this physical volume 17 gave us a Zen'in family tree on a bonus page. So I figured I'd go over that, explain it a little bit here.
Yes, I would love that.
So the 23rd head of the family is an unknown person who had 3 children. Those 3 children were Naobito, Ogi, and an unknown person who became the 25th head of the family. The 24th head of the family is not listed here because their dad was the 23rd and then this third brother became the 25th. So there was someone in between there that isn't listed in the tree. Or is maybe a different branch or something, I don't know exactly. But then obviously, and we know that Naobito became the 26th head of the family, so supposedly the third brother died or something, and Naobito became the next head, is just a thought I have. We don't know who the third brother is, though. And so, out of those 3 brothers, or I'm assuming the third one, the unknown one, is a guy, because he was a head of the family, and the Zen'in family would never have a woman at the top. So, either way, Naobito had Naoya as his kid, as well as supposedly many other children, but they're all unknown, all the other ones. Ogi obviously had Maki and Mai, and this third brother, the 25th head of the family, had Jinichi and Toji.
Aha! So they were brothers.
Yes, those 2 were. And obviously Toji had Megumi. So yeah, that's what we learned through that tree. We also, it's also noted on that page that Chojuro and Ranta, who all appeared a little bit at the end, or the second half of this volume, are on a different branch, kind of the Zen'in family. So they weren't on that part of the family tree.
Could you take a picture of that, just so I can see it?
Yes. There it is.
The rough draft, the rough style of it was not what I was expecting, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
So who are Chujiro and Ranta? We don't know that?
No, we do know. They were fighting Maki in the final fight. Ranta is the little boy.
Oh, that was Ranta.
And Chojuro is the older guy who was killed at the same time as one of those the high up guard guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you for stating that. That's I like how you have Megumi's mom there as well. I mean, she's such a happy looking person compared to Toji.
Right.
I really want to learn more about the mama at one point.
Hopefully we will.
Hopefully we do.
Hopefully. Well, is that all on that?
Yes.
Then next let's talk about Yuji Itadori, child of the Zen'in, Michizane's descendant, Death Painting Boom, and Sukuna's vessel. Those are a lot of titles.
I don't think that's all him. I think that's all the people
Oh,
in the room.
dude. Oh, but I thought. But Okay, okay.
Because Chozo's the death painting.
But
He's the vessel. Uh,
mm, oh, and that's why Yuki was like, "Oh, but what about me? Like, why didn't you say hi to me?" I see.
yeah.
That makes sense
Mhm.
actually. Oh man, here I was thinking like those were all different titles that he used for Yuji. But
It's
you're
kind of confusing
you're
because
right though,
he's
probably.
not. There's not like a face for each thing. You
Mm-mm.
know what I mean? Like
And because I was thinking, because technically, in a way, you could say, I mean, obviously he's Sukuna's vessel for sure.
hmm
You can maybe say, you can sort of say he's a death painting womb because he's a child of the person who created death painting wombs, I guess.
I think after this volume, I can't. We can't say that because of Yuji was actually born and not just
That is true.
you
Okay,
know
you
aborted
that's
fetus.
fair. That is fair. Who is Michi Zane's descendant?
That one I wasn't sure, to be honest. I didn't know who exactly who he's referring to, but we have Maki. Well, I think Mitazane's descendant has to be Yuta.
Right. By process of elimination, it kind of
Yeah.
has to be. I'm sure we will learn more about that through the story.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for clearing that up for me. This makes more sense probably. Though I had been like speculating on all of this, so I'm gonna scratch some of this now. But
But look, this I think of any manga that we've covered,
uh,
I think we've been the most. I don't want to say confused, but the most led astray,
mm,
maybe in terms of maybe
yeah.
not completely understanding what the author is saying out of anything we've read. I mean, do you feel
Honestly,
like that's
yeah.
accurate?
I think it is accurate. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for better or for worse, I mean, yeah. But anyway, no. I think what shocked me the most in this volume with Yuji is when we saw his mom. I screamed. I literally screamed when I saw
Oh.
the scar. The stitches on her forehead. I just didn't think Kenjaku would be the mom. I figured, oh, it
Right.
had to be the father. But of course, I mean, what does it matter? He just changed his brain. It's like, yes, it makes sense. It's also very disturbing. It's all disturbing.
Right. Yeah, I mean we were pretty sure that Kinjaku had something, had been somehow involved with Yuji's
Right.
birth. But like
Right.
exactly the circumstances obviously were not quite clear. So yeah, this was an interesting kind of freaky thing.
It just didn't occur to me that it wasn't going to be the mom. I just figured it was going to be the dad side because of how Akutami sets it up when Choso asked him, "Didn't your father have a scar?" I mean, on his forehead, and I figured, oh, that must be the case.
Oh yeah. That's right. That is a bit
Akutami really
deceitful,
set it
right?
up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. It was
True.
great. It was a great
Right.
reveal.
Absolutely. Yeah, I liked it a lot as well. But it got me thinking a little bit about Yuji's father, who we learned his name was Jin,
Mm.
and how he ended up having dealings with Kinjaku, or like we obviously know that the two of them made Yuji,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just a bit confused as to like why would Kenjaku. I feel like there must have been something special about Jin that made Kenjaku want to have a child with that guy because
Mm-hmm.
of his genes or something.
I think that's exactly it. I think it has something to do with the genetic makeup of Jin and now Yuji. Uh,
Precisely.
because they both look very similar, Jin and Yuji. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, Jin looks like Yuji with glasses on.
Absolutely. Yeah. The face is definitely the same.
And I think you could argue that Yuji and Sukuna kind of look the same, don't you think? Unless Sukuna is taking on the look of Yuji, but
I feel
I
like
feel
that's
like
the implication.
oh, is it
But
really? Are you sure?
I'm not 100%. But I always just got the feeling that we know Sukuna in a look similar to Yuji's because he is in his body. That's
Mm.
at least my interpretation of it.
we've seen him like with multiple limbs and the eyes or whatever, but like that, like in the flashback what they were talking about. So yeah. I mean, but that aside, I kind of have a feeling that that's how he looked like originally. You know, like somewhat like Yuji.
Interesting.
But I could be wrong. But that's where my theory comes from, is that for some reason, gene genetics and therefore Yuji's genetics match up with enough with Sukuna that it is ideal for Kenjaku's plan.
Do you think they would be descendants of Sukuna?
Wow. I guess that's would be what I'm implying, huh? Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't. So we've talked about how the story said he used to be human, right?
If I recall, yeah.
I haven't gone back to look.
We have talked about it as if though it was that way, though.
I'll keep going to it anyway. So maybe he did have children before he became this malevolent curse.
Exactly.
And maybe
he
that
certainly could have
carried on his bloodline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I am curious about the grandfather.
Right. He doesn't necessarily have to, like, if Jin is a descendant of Sukuna or something, having some kind of, whether it's that or not, some kind of genetic cool thing, it doesn't necessarily have to come from the grandfather.
No. I'm more so curious. I'm kind of moving subject. I'm curious on how much he knows when it comes to the Jujutsu Kaisen world, to curse energy, and what his apprehensions were with Kaori, Yuji's mom.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kaori. He says Kaori died, right? And so that means that, to me, Jin and Kaori knew each other when she was alive, before Kenjaku could control. But then somehow she died and came back to life, obviously because of Kenjaku, and then they had Yuji. But the grandfather, instead of being, super happy that, Kaori miraculously made it, he is adamant that she died. And almost as if that this Kenjaku is not actually Kaori. What? So maybe it's just instinct, which I'd be fine with. But I'm curious if it could be something more. And so, what is his role in all of it? Well, not maybe role as in he had a hand in creating Yuji. I don't think has anything to do with Kenjaku's plan. I just curious if he has connections to the curses in the Jujutsu Kaisen world.
Right. That is fair. Yeah, since he's definitely more aware of the weird things than Jin ever seemed to be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Jin is just like, no, this is great. We have a son, and it's awesome. So maybe Jin himself had nothing to do with the Jujutsu Kaisen world, but maybe the grandpa did.
For sure, right. It's definitely possible. So, well, I'll just mention it quickly. I'm not going to go in too much on this, but one of the little theories that I had, or that I made up while I was thinking that all of those titles were different titles for Yuji, the ones that Tengen spoke, with Michizane's descendants being one of the more cryptic ones, obviously, and thinking that applied to Yuji. Obviously, now I don't anymore. Thank you, James. But I was thinking that whoever that was and how that seemingly is something special, based on the way Tengen spoke it, that's something that he, like a line that he, or a family line that came from his father's side, and that was what made Jin desirable or whatever to Kenjaku. Obviously, probably isn't, but could be something else. Something else in the bloodline, as we were saying, but yeah.
So I mean, look, maybe you're right. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be interpreted. Although I am pretty confident it's the other way. But
yeah, and I am now too.
But with that theory, though, would that imply that potentially Kaori is from the Zen'in family?
That was what I was thinking about
Ah.
also, actually, as I was trying to mix or yeah, put all these titles onto Yuji. Yeah, because like
She does have black hair.
Jin and the precisely, yeah, Jin and the grandfather don't really give off Zenin vibes, so probably wouldn't be from
No.
there. But she definitely could have been, uh, potentially. I mean, I don't know. So then that one could have fitted, and the Michizane could have fitted. And Death Painting Boom, as you pointed out, actually might not be quite fitting, but mm, brother of a death painting boom maybe makes him sort of an honorary death painting
Yeah.
boom. No, but I think you're ultimately right in that these were referring to different people, but yeah, I guess still interesting to discuss a bit.
Yeah, I think just to put it emphasis, I think that the what shows that Tengen's talking about all of them is that what's her name? Yuki, is that her name?
Yeah,
She is like, hey, what about me?
precisely. Yeah,
So obviously he was talking about everyone else in the room.
for sure. Yeah, it added up with that, I think.
Interesting stuff for Yuji though. Still, I mean,
Oh yeah.
there's a lot to think about. I think in terms of why Kenjaku wanted him, and uh, man, I still can't get over the fact that he's the mother. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, fun,
For sure.
fun stuff. I wonder how he's gonna do in the culling games. You know, with
Yeah.
the whole killing aspect.
Right. It'll be interesting for sure. I'm very excited to see how that's gonna go down. And we also learned that Yuji and Megumi, like their next objective is to meet up with Kinji Hakari, the suspended third year that we've been a bit teased about since almost the beginning of the manga nearly. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him and the story soon.
Yeah, super excited. I mean, we've been waiting for him for a while.
Yeah. Something I liked initially, but didn't like so much at the end of it, was I initially liked it when Yuji just abruptly changed the topic to ask about Nobara. Like I liked that because it made sense. Like
You
for
didn't
him,
like it?
no. I liked that he abruptly changed the topic to ask that. Like initially,
Oh, okay. You like that
I
part.
liked
Okay.
it then, like as far as that went, because it was well, it made sense for him to want to know and for him to just kind of realize that shit, what the fuck happened, and just disregard everything else only to ask that question. But what I didn't like about it was that we spent a single page on dealing with that before moving on to the totally other stuff. Like Yuji got 3 panels to process that Nobara is seemingly dead. Like that seems to be the implication here.
Yeah.
And Yuji gets 3 mere panels, and then just bam, Choso comes in and like goes right back on what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. Like that's not worthy. Like I don't know, man. That kind of upset me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could have some sort of like flashback or something like that.
Something
Yeah, no,
more.
I get it.
Like,
I do get it. To me, yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't say I love it either. I mean, I do like that. Obviously, you could see it. It was tough for him,
right.
but I guess I was more concerned about whether this means that she's just gone forever or not. I mean, I guess there's always a chance that she could come back into the story at the nick of time or something like that. But
Yes.
to me, this almost seems like confirmation that she's dead.
It seems that way, yeah.
I mean, I guess without actually saying she died, there's always the possibility that she could come back. But at this point, it's even slimmer than it was before.
Yeah.
With this, so if anything, I'm more disappointed that she's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that too, I suppose. But yeah, it's like when asked about it, Megumi was just silent and he gave like, well, we only see his eye really, but it seems like he's giving like a face that's like, well, he can't bear to say that she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would he be silent, or why wouldn't he say something if there was something good to say? even
Right.
if it's just like she's in a
Exactly.
coma and we don't know if she's gonna wake up. But like even that, he could have said that probably if that was the case.
Hmm.
But she's yeah, this really seems to mean that she's dead.
Yeah, that blows really. I mean, she wasn't my favorite character, but she definitely grew on me as we just had this discussion, and I think she was uh, a good character in this story, and I was excited to see what more that she would bring. But
Right,
yeah, I'm kind of disappointed she's gone.
dude.
Actually,
Yeah,
more than kind, I am disappointed.
yeah. Me too.
Oh well.
Anything else on Yuji though?
No, I think I'm good. I guess I'll just reemphasize the fact that it would have been nicer to have more for Nobata
Mm,
and Yuji thinking about her a little bit, but
yeah.
oh well.
Right. Man. Man, hopefully we'll get something in the next volume or so. Some kind of
Mm.
resolution, even though she's gone. But, like, some sort of satisfying ending to her existence, you know?
Yeah. Did she ever help what's her name get Yuji's number?
Oh,
Like, were they able
right.
to?
Dude, I always forget about her. I was thinking about her, though, like, at some point between some recent discussion, like, recordings
Mm.
a while back, but yeah, she slips my mind most of the time. I would like to see her again because what was the purpose or the point of her if it's not going to lead to something more? I don't know. Well, anyway, shall we move on to Tengen next?
Sure.
We finally met him at long last, and it appears that he or his self has been spreading across the world after the merger failed 12 years ago. And apparently, Kenjaku's plan is to merge all of humanity with Tengen. Because apparently that's possible now that Tengen's evolved soul exists all around.
Weird.
That is weird, but it makes sense as far as Jujutsu Kaisen logic goes. It makes sense, I think. and,
Sure.
and apparently, a worldwide merger like that with Tengen would soon end the world, kind of supposedly due to evil spreading between humans and stuff like that. So it would kind of be the end of the world if that plan would come to fruition. And while we don't know why Kenjaku wants to achieve this, I guess that's still kind of a mystery. We do know why Geto's cursed spirit manipulation technique is so desirable to Kenjaku, being that Tengen is essentially evolving into a cursed spirit.
Hmm.
So I can't actually rather liked all of that, like those revelations, and
Oh yeah. No. Me too.
it was pretty interesting actually.
Yeah, I love it. Like especially the fact that I'm turning into basically a cursed spirit, and that's what Ghetto specially is.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, that was a good page turn, like seeing everybody's reactions to it. Yeah, freaky.
I tell you what's freaky. Tengen's face. That's also freaky.
Yeah,
And then he's
yeah.
like nonchalantly, "Yeah, if you live like 500 years, you get like this too. You look like this too." He's like, "Ah."
Yeah, and Yuji. Oh my god, we were talking. I think I don't know if it was the previous discussion or if it was the one before that, but we were recently talking about how Yuji has probably changed to a less goofy character by now, but he's still like this
Yeah,
gullible, kind
he's still
of
good. Yeah.
dorky or kind of dumb person still. Which I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, but it
Yeah.
is
No. Mhm.
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. I guess the reason why he looks like that is more so the fact that in the past 11 years he's been basically becoming a curse spirit, right? I feel like I mean and maybe this was a whole side effect of his powers in general, but
Mm.
because he's turning a curse spirit, I think that's why he looks more like that. Kind of like how you know, Skuna looks when he has like the extra arms and everything. I'm
Right.
pretty sure he has like multiple eyes, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, both Sukuna and Tengen have more than two eyes, huh?
Hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, and Tengen offers them the back of the prison realm that holds Gojo. That was all. That was another pretty fun thing I thought, or interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to open it, they need the ability to cancel curse techniques. And Gojo kind of got rid of all of the options, or most of the options, before he was sealed in there. So that was kind of ironic, and I kind of enjoyed that. Or that was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Don't.
But there is this person, Hanakurisu, who will be a participant in the calling game and who has supposedly lived for 1,000 years. And
Yeah, what in the world?
she has the ability to extinguish curse techniques. Man, I feel like there's so many characters by now that are like just really, really old.
You lived through 1,000 years. You lived through 1,000 years. You lived through 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else I should know who has lived through 1,000 years?
Yeah. Yeah, she calls herself an angel, or people call her an angel, or something like that.
She's an angel. So yeah, I mean, there seems to be a way to get Gojo out. I like it. I like how we have a means.
Right.
It's not easy, supposedly, but at least you just got to get this 1,000-year angel on your side.
Yeah.
Which, if she's been around for 1,000 years and really hasn't been helping out, I don't know how easy that is going to be.
Right. Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see what kind of a character she is.
Yeah. Gosh.
But I'm sure it's not gonna be easy.
No. Real quick, going back to Tengen explaining Kenjaku's desires and his goals. What the crap does it mean? Like, does he want eternity for mankind? Is that what he's saying? Like, he wants give eternal life in a way, or
I don't know.
What is his idea of perfection of? Because yes, he's trying to force evolution on humankind. You know, some sort of perfection.
Right.
We that was already kind of established, but then Tengen says, yeah, he wants to merge them with moi.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like what I gathered from the consequence, or like the negative side effects of that being how regular humans don't have the same kind of barrier capacity or whatnot like Tengen does. So if they all merged with him,
what's the barrier capacity again? What is that?
I can't remember the exact wording, but basically Tengen.
No, they said that, but I just what is that? They kept using it.
Tengen is like a master barrier user, I feel like, or like at least we know that he.
What is the barriers for?
I think, well, for one, he has the barrier around Jujutsu High, like that's one type of barrier. But I also understand it like he has a barrier, supposedly, at least the way I understood. I could be wrong about this, but that he has like a barrier around himself that keeps him together, sort of, or at least everything that makes that is him. Or well, I guess not fully because he is being spread across the world, but I guess at least his physical body. But like a regular human wouldn't be able to do that, and that's why all of the evilness and whatnot throughout humanity would spread from person to person, and eventually, pretty soon, just spread to everybody.
It's the barrier that Jujutsu sorcerers can subconsciously kind of use, maybe. Like, because we established that Jujutsu sorcerers are able to control how much curse, or like are able to subdue the curse energy that they're leaking, right? It's the non-sorcerers that just exude it, without control whatsoever, right?
I hadn't actually thought of it being that type of ability, but it maybe. Actually, I mean, I'm not totally sure if it's similar or if it's like a totally different genre of techniques, but regardless, though, it's something that most people don't have. Either everyone besides like Tengen and Kenjaku, or like just all non-sorcerers or whatever. Regardless, a whole lot of people. And that if they once they would become like Tengen, then chaos would ensue because they couldn't keep it together, kind of like he can.
Keep what together?
Like just everything inside of them, like bad emotions or evil intentions, and all of that would spread from human to human, and eventually it would be all over the world and all humans.
Does that already happen now? Humans are already leaking the curse energy. Would they get more if they merge with Tengen, and why?
Let me go to that scene because there was something specific that I felt like he said. So, Tengen says, I possess barrier techniques, so I am able to maintain this form and self control even after evolving. However, if humankind evolves, and even if only one person rages out of control, the whole world will end. There would be no boundaries between individuals, so evil would spread instantaneously. The impurities of 100 million people would flood the world. So what just happened to Tokyo would happen to the entire world. So I'm reading this not necessarily as cursed energy, but as just evil doing in general.
So he says a human merges with me, transforming to something greater than a sorcerer. So
yeah, that too.
Greater than a sorcerer.
Yeah, it is kind of vague, I guess.
An omniscient being, like a god.
Not sure.
As a new being that is both there and not there. So that sounds like omniscient. So I guess all humans would become this ethereal, omniscient being if they fuse with Tengen, supposedly. So all eternal, but everywhere and things like that. But because Tengen can control his emotions or he has self-control, whatever that means, of his self, humankind won't be able to have that sense of self. They'll just be a natural phenomena, or like
I think so.
Some sort, something.
And how that chaos would also kind of mix between all of humanity, and like it would just become everywhere in a big old mess. Something like that, I think.
So humans would then cease to exist anyway. As soon as they merge with Tengen, like there's just no more humans, right? Because they wouldn't have a form.
Maybe, I don't know. That part I'm not totally sure about.
What's so bad if the whole chaos ensues and everything? Like, okay, like the humans are gone, so what does it matter? But I mean, I guess maybe Kenjaku's creating the ideal place for curses, to exist even without humans around. Maybe exist eternally. Oh, hey, if this curse thing is still around for eternity, the chaos is still around for eternity, would that feed curses for all eternity as well? Is that what? I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point. But do you see why I was confused?
Absolutely. It is. I think it's vague in a lot of ways.
It's kind of vague. It's vague.
So it's yeah.
And hey, look, if someone listening feels like they have the answer and just want to whip it out without spoilers, please, by all means, go right ahead.
Yeah.
I want to know interpretations or maybe the correct way of looking at it. But I think what Petter explained and what I kind of talked through are good enough for me. And I've never not liked the whole Tengen part. I just thought it was a bit too vague for me to fully grasp, other than the fact that Kenjaku can control the new Tengen, and that's bad.
Precisely, yeah. We understand enough to know that the stakes are high.
Yeah.
Anything else on Tengen?
That's it.
Then next, let's talk about Masamichi Yaga. And I guess also the characters that were tied to his chapter in this volume.
Right.
That was a really good chapter. Like, through and through, really. Like, initially, like, just right off the bat, I just thought it was so sweet to see him along with, all of his cursed corpse friends in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was very, very sweet. Almost like a Winnie the Pooh kind of
vibe. Exactly.
It's super sweet.
Will you be back, Christopher Robin? Will you be back?
Yeah.
Yaga.
And yeah, just all of that. That was just super cute and sweet. And then obviously we get to see that Panda was rescued by Kusakabe, for the reason that Kusakabe felt like he owed Yaga for having helped Kusakabe's sister in the past.
Yeah.
By kind of making a corpse that consisted of her nephew, who she loved very much. which was also super touching. Like that flashback, my goodness, I didn't think it like seeing like a essentially a doll acting that way and whatnot. Like I don't know, it really got me.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't really put much stock into Yaga's character at all, really. And maybe I think I may have been a little more down on him than you, or less interested than maybe you were. But
Mm,
uh, this chapter, I mean, it's sad that he's dead. I would actually have wanted him to live after this chapter, but
yeah,
it it was a great way to, well, an impactful way to send him off and kind of further our understanding of what Panda is and what Yaga's ability was.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, right. We did get to understand Panda's creation better, obviously, and I guess
Mm-hmm.
that is nice. But yeah, and you know, when I read it the first time, I didn't feel so strongly that Yaga was necessarily dead by the end of the chapter.
Oh, really?
But now I do kind of think that he is. After I reread it today, I think sadly that he is. Like it really seems to imply that he dies. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, look, there always could be the fake out,
I suppose.
but I think the fact that Panda's bawling
Mm,
and that he kind of has a final words type situation, which
yeah.
great, chilling
Yeah.
final words. A curse from me to you.
Yes, he curses Gakuganji. Like I wonder if that actually how like cuz we don't know how that works. Like when you're like
I don't.
through spoken word cursing people or like
I
I wonder does it actually have an effect or is it just something that one says?
So I didn't really take it as a curse, an actual curse. I took it as the knowledge of how the soul or
Hmm.
the cursed corpses are created is a curse,
Oh.
and the knowledge that he had of doing that and everything was a curse on him. And then by telling Kakuganji, or the isn't his also name Yoshinobu? Isn't that the other one? It cursed from me to you. Like he curses them in that way. Whether it was
Hmm.
whether he was doing it on, you know, purpose, or
Hmm.
maybe he was the one person he was willing to tell. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I guess I'm curious now to see what kind of effect this will have on Gakuganji. Like, not just the whole, like the last words from Yaga, but also the last words that Panda spoke in this chapter. Even Panda's cry. And, like, I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was so sad. And I'm just looking at that panel right
Mm-hmm.
now, just seeing his face all, like, scrunched up, like, from the side, kind of back from the back. And him saying those words is
Yeah.
so tragic.
Even Panda can cry.
And it's like, would that affect Gakuganji as well? Like the way it affected me, you know?
I think so.
I hope
I think
so.
those that last look he has when he hears Masamichi's final word, is it? Yeah, Masamichi.
Mm,
When he his final words is, I think it impacted him. I think it struck a
yeah,
chord with him, and I kind of think he had somewhat of a friendship with Yaga.
yeah,
I mean, he was basically trying to get him free at the very beginning, but I do think that it did make an impact on him, and I could see him potentially taking in Panda in a way, or at least, not causing him any harm.
right. So that's something I look forward to seeing him deal with, I guess.
Yeah,
And man, yeah, yeah, super solid chapter. Just a single chapter, that whole thing, but it was so well written.
very good.
Possibly my favorite chapter of this volume.
Mm, it was a very good one.
Moving on,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about Choso a little bit. Thanks to his connection to his cursed womb brothers, they were able to find their way into to Tengen.
Oh, yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And I was well, a thought came to mind now because for a few volumes now, we've started to see Choso as sort of more of a good guy, kind of like he's definitely
Mm-hmm.
like made a transition into being definitely more kind of relatable and seeming pretty nice.
Yeah.
And I wonder now that he wants to bring those six remaining brothers of his back to life, or whatever you want to say, or into life, or whatever. Um, or at least assuming it works the same way with them as it did with him and his other two brothers. They're going to need a human sacrifice for each person, right?
Oh,
So
I guess so.
that's going to require some, I guess, actual like evil actions, I suppose,
Oh my.
from him if he wants to actually, if he's serious about bringing them back, which he seems to be.
Mm.
So that's something I'm a little bit worried about. Like, is he actually gonna like have people die basically in order to bring them to him?
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with it. It's almost for Choso. It's just like I don't care about these people, but I care about my brothers, so
Exactly.
I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Would Yuji let him do that? I don't know. I mean, I think it comes down to what Yuji allows him to do. And I don't think Yuji.
Hmm.
I mean, Yuji's warming up to him clearly,
Oh yeah.
but I also don't think Yuji's gonna take his side all the time,
No.
particularly in an instance where he may be sacrificing
Mm-hmm.
somebody.
No, for sure.
But I could see Choso easily doing it without Yuji knowing, either within the pages of the manga or in between the lines, if you will.
Right. Yeah. By the way, I thought it was really funny, like Choso's reaction when Yuji called him Big Brother. Choso was so happy and looked like just like
Yeah,
shocked. I think also, like,
I love that moment
it was
too.
really funny. Um, but yeah, about him bringing his brothers back again. Like he is staying with Yuki to guard Tengen in case the fighting comes there, kind of with Kenjaku or Kenjaku's people and whatever.
Hmm.
And I was wondering if it does come to that, a battle there, then maybe Choso will bring his brothers back for that fight, and like they'll be there assisting in guarding Tengen. But again, that would require people before then, or humans. But hey, what if he like takes out, like maybe like Kenjaku has like human goons that come to fight them, and then he just uses them to turn them into his brothers or something. Uh,
Yeah, it's okay to kill evil people.
yeah, exactly. That's what this volume taught me. But next character,
Yep.
Yuta Okutsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, oh my gosh.
Honestly, I should have seen it coming.
Yeah,
Really should have seen it coming.
putting on an act. Of course he was. Of course he was. That
Of
wasn't
course
the
it would.
real Yuta we saw in the previous volume.
It makes sense because he's such a disciple of Gojo, and
Right.
they were working together.
Mm.
Obviously, Gojo had so much faith in him,
Yeah.
and so of course he would say, "Hey, can you please save this Yuji kid? He really needs our help."
Yeah. But it was just the fact that he played the role so convincingly,
Oh yeah,
even to the
yeah,
point
very convincing.
where he actually technically killed Yuji, you know?
He actually killed him.
So it's like yeah, I think it's fair for us to fall for that act.
Oh,
But yeah, no, it was well played, Yuta.
yeah. I didn't realize he could heal with his technique.
Right.
Like that was part of the whole killing thing. Like he kills him, then he automatically healed him with reverse curse stick. I didn't realize he had that.
Yeah, that was really surprising to me as well, because like it had almost been established that Shoko was the only human who could do that. At least two others.
Maybe he did that in Zero. Did he?
I have no
Did he
recollection
kill
of that
Maki?
in Zero. I feel like that's something that he must have learned later.
Okay.
But yeah, that is fascinating. Now there's two.
Yeah, I think that's why Sukuna had that look on him when Yuta killed
Mm.
Yuji. He kind of like had he kind of clicked his teeth.
Yeah.
He's like, and then he smiles. I think it's because he died and then revived, or he killed and revived
Yeah,
Yuji.
yeah, exactly. Because it really, it was at first it was a shocked impression or expression, like, oh shit, we're dying, but then immediately the smile, yeah, you're right, like, ooh, oh, we're going back. And I also like my last little thing on Yuta is just how I loved how seeing how happy he was when he saw Maki. He's just so
Yeah,
just pure bliss. It's so cute.
Maki. Yeah, I mean, you know, eh, Maki is definitely not in the mood for any sort of romance. I will say, and not saying that's what Yuta wanted. They're just good friends. But for my shipping fuel purposes, uh, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but at this, I'm not foolish enough to keep pushing it, especially after you killed an entire clan. Um,
Yeah.
Not really on the forefront.
No.
I guess it depends on the story, though.
It sure do. I mean, we don't have any other ships going on in the story right now.
Oh my gosh,
we'll,
yeah,
we'll take our ships where we can find them.
Oh my gosh, all the ships have sunk.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is my only ship that's really afloat right now. Although I guess if you're shipping Yuji and Megumi, you're still good, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're golden. Absolutely.
uh,
Well, speaking of that guy, do you want to move on to Megumi,
yeah,
the 27th head of the Zen'in family?
good for him.
I suppose.
No, he doesn't want it.
No.
He doesn't want it. He's like, Maki, you could take it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nobody really wants that position, it seems.
No.
At least no one that's alive anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's from Megumi that we initially learn about this culling game, and that that Kenjaku is orchestrating, and Megumi's sister is apparently ensnared in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just speaking on the culling games, it sounds like we're going to be entering into this new arc. I mean, if this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Are we calling this a culling game arc? I'm not.
I had noted that down in my notes. Culling game arc is on the way, kind of.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe.
It sounds horrendous, though. I mean,
Uh-huh.
Basically a battle royale type
Uh-huh.
situation,
Yeah.
but one where it actually ends in the death of a lot of people.
Yeah. Like a nationwide battle royale kind of.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see how they find the loopholes in the game, because it does seem that Megumi himself is like, I think we can get around this somehow.
Exactly. It was interesting to follow along with their speculations and like the ideas they had to,
Right.
like, how to maybe
Over each rule.
Yeah, get by stuff like that. Yeah. And yeah, it'll be fun to see when they're actually in it what they can do with that.
Yeah.
Seems it should be a lot of fun. I'm actually really excited for this whole thing to get started. It's probably going to be really brutal and terrifying, but it seems fascinating.
And yeah, it seems fascinating, and we're already getting introduced to a couple of characters who I presume will be in the culling games. That
Exactly. Fumihiko Takaba was that one stand-up comedian who seemed to be a bit of a failure.
Yeah.
It was kind of only him though so far.
Well, I guess Hikari as well. Not Hikari, sorry. Kurusuhana.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. And Megumi's sister, I guess, but we sort of knew her a little bit before, or knew of her at least. But yes. I don't have any other characters to bring up.
You know what? I don't think I do either.
All right. Then I guess we're moving into predictions then?
I think so.
So yeah, the calling game arc is kind of on our hands soon, perhaps. And Kinji Hakari is coming into the picture soon. He's got to be. Most likely next volume, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking that as well, because we left Yuji and Megumi, as they were going to go find him.
Precisely. And at this point, I feel like this volume left it at a place where we could switch over to them at any moment now, kind of. Maybe even at the very start of the next book.
Totally.
So yeah, definitely easily expecting to see that.
Yeah. I wonder how quickly they'll find the angel girl. Well, I predict that we won't actually start the culling games until the end of this upcoming volume, the next volume. I think that's what I'm thinking. And I don't think they meet the angel until they're in the culling games. So, yeah, probably won't see her until the volume after next, or even after that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think I'm sort of with you on that time estimation.
Other than that, shocker. I don't really have too many predictions. I mean,
Cool. I mean, we have
you know,
been sprinkling quite a bit of them into the
true.
discussion already.
I guess my big one was the Yuji Skuna descendant genetic thing.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I don't have much for predictions either, actually. At least that's left here. But one thing that it's more like something I'd like to see. It's not necessarily something I expect to see super soon, but it's something that I'd like to see eventually, being more Gojos. Cause like Satoru is the only Gojo we've ever seen in the manga, right?
Like maybe someone that could have been his mom and dad when he was a little kid.
Oh, right, like true.
Toji had a flashback, but that's really it. Like,
yeah,
so
that barely
vague,
counts.
you know,
But yeah, right. And yet the Gojo family has been, mentioned as this, one of the big three and like super influential.
Right.
And
even at the end of this volume, they were mentioned
Uh-huh.
with the other family as well, the Kama family.
Precisely, and that's what reminded me of this actually, and how it's kind of strange that we've barely seen any characters from the family. So that's something I'd really like to see. Like, what are the other Gojos like?
Yeah.
Kind of. What's that family like as a whole? Like, is it similar to the Zen'in, or similar to the Kamo? I don't know. Or is it just a family where everyone is just like Satoru Gojo? I mean, I don't know.
No,
that would be kind of funny.
No way. There's no way.
No. But yeah, I just want to see that. But that's all I had on that.
Awesome.
Good discussion though.
Yeah, no, a lot to talk about.
A lot to take in as well from this.
Yes.
volume.
Yes. Dude.
Yes. Well, if you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga, and it would be lovely if you'd like to support us by rating our show on the podcast platforms and subscribing to our channel, Umami Manga, on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 18. Bye-bye!
See you later.
I actually think that this discussion that we just did for Jujutsu Kaisen is the last Jujutsu Kaisen episode that's coming out in this year, or podcast discussion.
Oh, wow. Because we just have so many volumes coming out, plus we go back to every other week.